Hello, 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 and welcome to day number 3 of the Wealth Reset Challenge. Today, we are talking all about how to build with Saturn. So drop a crown if you're here with me live. Also, hello to replay viewers. Thank you for watching the replays. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for being here, engaging in the comments. I so love that you're doing that. And I just think that that's so amazing that you're showing up and playing all out for yourself. If you are on replay, drop hashtag after party in the comments. And I'm going to go ahead and get the tagging going and we will rock and roll. Here we go. Maybe Facebook will be my helper today and be on my side. This is a good time to take some deep breaths, get yourself centered, come into your body. Perfect time for these things. This will be a lot faster than yesterday. And even, well, probably about the same speed tomorrow. Boom. Almost done. Look at that. So let's get this show on the road. Crown in the comments. And then after you drop your crown in the comments to share with me that you are here live, to show Facebook, hey, this is a relevant video, make it matter, then I would love for you to drop the Saturn icon. I did let you guys know we were going to be here at 5 p.m. Eastern, so hopefully everybody gets moving. Starts coming in here, dropping your crown. So live, drop your crown, replay, drop your hashtag after party. Everyone also drops Saturn, the Saturn symbol. Oh my gosh, it actually streamed to my profile today. Woot. Third day in a row. Third time's the charm, right? Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me actually just make sure. Okay, yep, you guys can. Okay. Oh, Joanne's here, ready to play. She's got her crown. She's got her Saturn. Crystal's here. Woot. I literally just broke my fast like 22 minutes ago. Woot. I am really excited about that too. I don't know if you guys can tell by my face, but I have lost a chunk of inches. I don't know about weight. I haven't weighed myself in a very long time. I don't give a fuck. All right, drop your Saturn symbols. Jessica's in the house. Let me know in the comments. Did you guys get the text message for this session? Let's get these comments rocking and rolling. That's what's going to make Facebook be so fucking happy. So everybody, let me know, yes or no, if you got the text. Crystal, you unsubscribed, so you wouldn't have got it. It won't let me add you back. I love that. Is that what that face is? I don't know what that face is. For the emoji. I don't think I can make that emoji face in real life. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Crystal, I fixed the fucking cubes for you so you weren't tripping the whole session. Hopefully you're happier about that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look at these dark circles under my eyes. It's like I don't get any sleep, but I do. I don't even know what the hell. What the fuck? All right, let's go. We got shit to do. We don't know why the fuck we're talking about my dark circles. Probably because we're waiting for people to get in here. All right, so welcome to day number 3. Like I said, This is all about how to build with Saturn. We're going to start with your soul. I'm going to give you some examples on the soul side, and then we'll dive into deeper examples on the wealth side. It is called the Wealth Reset Challenge. And we were like deep into soul yesterday. So we'll be hitting soul on a lighter level today with Saturn, because just for like the sake of time and everything, and because yesterday was pretty heavy. Hey, Anitra, welcome in, girlfriends. Where's those Saturn symbols? I didn't see a Saturn symbol from Crystal. Looking for a Saturn symbol from Anitra. All right, so listen, on day number 1, that was all about your rising and sun sign, and you audited where your foundation is cracked, where you're showing up in your light in your sun sign, which, remember, your sun sign's your core personality. It's your past lives that you've lived, the lessons that you've learned, the journeys that you've been on. And then here you have that knowledge. That's the foundation. That's the base. That's the core of who you are, right? You have the light and the dark side of that, or the light and the shadow wound, or what we call the growth side of that, right? Then you have your rising sign. This is your outward personality, how you show up in the world, and like your business persona, all right? Now, you have the light side of that and the growth side of that. And the intention of day number 1 of auditing your foundation, auditing, your rising and your sun sign, was to look at, okay, where am I showing up in the growth areas of each of these? What steps do I need, or what steps are best for me to take to integrate these so that I can show up in the light in both sides majority? Always remember that everything in my world, as far as effort and review of effort, is the 80-20, right? It's 80% of the goal that you want, not the normal 80-20 principle, like 20% of the effort you make gets 80% of the result, right? It's not that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 80-20. Like, let's use this for example. You've written down your perfect partner, their personality, everything they're like, all of the things, all the, personality traits, how tall they are, short they are, thick they are, thin they are, their ass, their eyes, whatever the fuck it is, their morals, their values, their spirituality, right? You've written all of that down, and you have this person that you want to attract completely mapped out. I am not loving my hair right now. You have that completely mapped out, right? And then you meet someone and you say, oh, man, this dude is so fucking cool, or chick, right, is so fucking cool. I'm really digging them, and I would love to get to know them better. However, they don't meet 100% of this ideal person. That's an 80-20 space, right? Everybody shout out in the comments 80-20. I'm going to be calling you in for comments so we can get this flowing and moving in comments like crazy. All right. So that's the like, you're looking at that and going, oh, I want 100% of that person, 100% of what I have written down, right? And the truth is, that's not going to get you anywhere, right? Because that's you asking for a perfect person. And when you're asking for a perfect person, you're calling in a perfect person. There's no such thing, right? So in 80-20, we say, okay, this is the entire picture of what I want and what I'm calling in. And okay, this business model, this offer, this opportunity, whatever, is 80% of what I want. And the power here is saying there are going to be times where it does fit 100 or 99 or 98 or 95 or 90, right? Or more than you could have imagined, right? You're getting more than you ever thought of. There could be a time that happens. What I'm doing my best to tell you, though, is you're looking for 80% of the result that you want. Okay, 80% of the result you want, 80% of the person, 80% of the business. Why do I say 80% of the business, right? I'd love to sit here and say you can have 100% the most perfect business that you've ever had. You're going to absolutely love it. It's going to always be 100. Well, what happens when you have the person who's talking shit? What happens when you have the person who doesn't pay? What happens when you have the person who is, a bait and switch? Like when they showed up, you thought they were this way, but now they're that way, and now they're infecting your community. What happens when you have to do you're doing customer service, but you would rather have someone else doing customer service? What happens when you do a launch and instead of it having the result that you felt like, you thought like, you prayed like, you manifested like, you affirmed like, it's opposite than that? There's going to be 20. So when you go through, I think it's really important for shadow and light, because that's what we're talking about, or growth and light. It's really important to go, I want to 80% have the growth integrated so that I'm 80% of the time standing in that light. Okay, that's what I'm saying when I say the 80-20, when it comes from the right to the rising versus the sun, to the business, to the partner, to your kids, like all of the things. It's so important. All right. So then on day 2, yesterday, you uncovered why it keeps cracking, and that's the Chiron wound. And you found out that the reason why Chiron is called the wounded healer is because you heal the wound and then you learn how to help others heal from the wound that you had. And that's how you get the wounded healer. That's how you operate with Chiron. Chiron has the light and the growth as well. It's about integrating that 80% of the time. Jessica asked a really powerful question of, does it keep coming up? Right? And we took some time to reframe that into, does it keep coming up? Not quite like that. However, you will continually be called to evolve and ascend to the next level and the next level, the next level version of you. Yes, it's you're going to continually be called into the next level of you, because that's what you said you wanted. Well, 1, by incarnating here as a human, and 2, by starting your healing journey. So keep that in mind, right? So if you're just joining us, drop a crown in the comment, drop a Saturn emoji in the comment, drop 80-20 in the comments, show up here, hang out with us. If you're on replay, play all out. All right, it might be a little loud in the background for a minute because my boy is just bringing in the groceries and he's got to put stuff away so it doesn't go bad and whatever. So thank you for your patience in that. Again, I don't have doors on my office, and the kitchen is right here. Well, the screen's always backwards, right? So anyways, doesn't matter, but just want to let you guys know what that noise could be. So today you're going to talk about how to rebuild it so that it finally holds, or said differently, how to really get that lesson and connect to that lesson and honor that lesson so that your transformation holds, so that when you step, it holds. Okay. So that's what Saturn's job is. That's where Saturn comes in. Now, the thing about Saturn is it gets a little bit of a bad rap in astrology, because people will call it like the task maker or the planet of limitations or the karmic teacher. But I really want to dive into that a little bit deeper, because Saturn is really the soul's architect. All right. So everybody shout that in the comments. Saturn equals soul's architect. Saturn equals soul's architect. Okay, so throw that down in the comments, because the reason why we call Saturn the soul architect is because it's the planet of structure and discipline and mastery and long-term vision and building something that lasts. And so let's go back to the relationship example, okay? Let's say that you found that person, you connected with that person, you've built a relationship with that person, you're really loving that person, right? And you have a lot of past relational traumas, demons, burdens, pain, all of those things coming up for you in your life. But this person and the way that they are brings those things to the surface because it's time for you to heal them. Well, if they're brought to the surface because it's time to heal them, Saturn is standing there saying, now is the time. You say you want this, you found your 80-20, let's say, right? And you want to build something that lasts with this person in a long-term relationship, and you've got the structure and the connection. Saturn is going to really move things in a way that it says, hey, This is what you said you wanted. You wrote out this person. However, in order for you to hold the container of that relationship, here is the work that you're being called to do. Here are the lessons you're being called to learn. Here's the pain that you're being asked to alchemize and transform into power. Here is where you step forward and give for what you're asking to receive. See, one of the things that I tell people all the time is when they're creating these relational, and this is just an example. What I'm telling you is like in every area. Saturn is not the planet of relationships. Like I said, it's structure, discipline, mastery, long-term vision, building something that lasts. I'm just showing you how it would impact the relationship because we used relationship with the 80-20 principle, right? So one of the things I always tell people is you are so good at knowing who it is you want to attract, what it is you don't want, how you want them to act, what don't act, da-da-da. But have you ever stopped to look at who is the person in you that would be able to hold the container of who you're calling in? So for those of you guys that are in a partnership right now, are you the person that can hold the container of that partnership? And I don't mean like, oh, I've done work, I've grown. Listen, I've grown by leaps and bounds over the last 21 years. The last 4 years, I've grown very rapidly. And in 9 months, I've transformed in multiple areas of my life at a rapid fire. And it was quite the fucking nightmare, right? I don't really find... I know that there's a lot of positive in it. I'm just being really raw and serious with what it took for me to be here with you now from what I went through over the last 9 months, right? So I've done a lot of transformation. I've done a lot of growth. I've done a lot of healing on myself, for other people, with other people, by other people, all the things, right? That does not mean that I am the person who can hold the container of the relationship that I want. Unless I ask myself the questions, well, what kind of person would this person be looking for? What kind of person would this person be attracted to? What kind of person would this person fall in love with? Who would show up for? Who would lead? Who would protect? Who would give a safe space? Who would care to understand? Who value, honored, and respected, so on and so forth, right? So in anything you ask for, anything you want in life, one of the most powerful questions that you can ask yourself is what kind of person would hold the container, or what kind of person would hold the container that I'm asking for? And not the whole container, just their side of the container. What kind of person would hold the container of the business that I'm asking for? When you first launch, you hold all sides. You hold the entire fucking container, right? So shout that out in the comments. What kind of person would hold the container of what I am asking for? This question, I want you guys to throw that down in the comments. You can copy and paste it. It's cool, right? This question puts it on you, square on your shoulders, inside of your sacred circle, which is your circle of control, and says, where's your work? Where's your effort? Where's your energy, the time, the intention for you to look at this whole thing and pull out of it what it is you really want from you out? Because the next thing I want you guys to put in the chat is, I cannot attract to me something that I am not a frequency match of. I cannot attract to me something that I am not a frequency match of. Or said positively, I only attract to me the things, people, and circumstances that I am a frequency match of. I'm going to delete the negative one. That's right outside of this container. Okay, done. So the positive one, the one I want you to copy and paste, wake up. Are you guys sleeping? Where are you today? Remember what I told you yesterday, the more interactive, the more you comment, the more you're here, the better the session is. The more disconnected, the less comments, the more boring, the less you're going to get out of this, right? I show up and operate in an energy based off of your energy. I feed off of your energy. So if you're lackluster, barely paying attention, not really engaged, not really, communicating back and forth, this will be your least favorite day of the challenge. I promise you that. Because impact, transformation, and the way something feels for you is in direct correlation to how you show up for it, what you give to it, and what you pour into it. The law of cause and effect, the law of reciprocity, right? Okay. So I only attract to me the things, people, and circumstances that I am a frequency match of. So whatever it is you want, this is the power of manifestation. If it's money you want to attract, your energetic frequency then would need energetic frequency would only attract that money if you're a match for it. If you are not a match for it, I have dog hair all over my fingers. I wonder if it's because I have a golden retriever. You're not a frequency match for it, right? So the key is to become a frequency match to whatever it is that you want to attract so that it comes to you. That is manifestation. So the question is, how do I get on that frequency? You raise your vibration, you raise your mindset. You clean, clear, and release the wounds, right? You do the growth. The more growth you do, the more negativity you release, the more you detach and you align within yourself and whatever it is, the more powerful it becomes. That's why when you join a money boot camp, because we're going to use money for this example, when you join like a money boot camp or you want to, make money and there's a money program or you redo your money relationship with money, whatever the fuck it is. One thing you'll always find in there is they'll ask you to write down everything you were told when you were a child, everything you think about money, how you are with money, how you operate with money, how you feel about money, where you feel it in your body. Why? Because manifestation is frequency match. You don't need a book. You don't need a program. You don't need a fucking course. I just gave it all to you in under 5 minutes. The way that you match your frequency to that item is to clear out any fears, negativity, and bullshit that you have, words, thoughts, actions that are attached to that. When you clear it out, then step 2 is to be grateful for it as if it's already here and already done. And then step 3 is just to believe it's coming. Now, some people do manifestation where they keep repeating step 2. I prefer to continue repeating step 2 because it makes me feel or it shows me to myself that I'm participating in this, right? I'm taking action towards it and I'm keeping my energy aligned to it. That is manifestation in 3 steps. All right. So I know we were starting to talk about Saturn and we kind of went over here just a little bit, but, did that connect with you? Did that make sense of what I'm saying here? So I want to know that. You want to reset your wealth? Get clear on it. Be honest with it. Tell yourself the truth. Shift, clean, clear, and release every fucking negative belief, system, thought, energy, action, word, any of it. Just clear it out. Just first and foremost, delete it. Start speaking positively about it. Speak gratitude as if it is done. Each thing that you want to attract, and then believe. And like Lisa Nichols says, know like you know that it's yours, and it will be, right? So basically, you're making space for it by clearing out all the bullshit, because there's no space for it to land with all the bullshit there. The bullshit is crowding it. Okay? Okay. So think of Saturn like a wise elder who says, I don't care about quick wins. I only care about legacy. I care about what you are building that will outlive you. This could be mindset, energy, attitude, action, business, relationships. Legacy is a multitude of things, okay? The thing about Saturn, though, is that it's step by step by step by step. You're not leaping past this step to get to this step, okay? There's no shortcuts here. Saturn is a control planet. So it's going to force you to build brick by brick, layer by layer, lesson by lesson, until your soul has mastered what it came here to learn for each of these lessons. So, if you find that you're in this constant cycle of the same things over and over and over and over and over and over, it is because when the lessons are presented to you, you are not learning them. Because what will happen is if you learn that lesson, you'll get an up-leveled version of that lesson, not the same lesson over and over. It's not a cycle, it's an ascension, right? So if it feels like a cycle, you're not learning the lesson. If your money isn't where you want it to be, you're not learning the lesson. If your business isn't where you want it to be, you're not learning the lesson. If the relationship isn't where you want it to be, you're not learning the lesson. If the way you feel, so on and so forth. Because the law of the universe says that everything you have is here because of your creation of it. So if it's repeating, it's because you are creating it to repeat because you aren't doing what you're being called to do so that you can ascend. Does this make sense? Are you guys with me? Sound off in the comments. Yes, thank you, Crystal. Shift, clean, clear, and belief that does not match, or that does match the frequency of what you want to attract, and belief that it's yours. That does match the frequency, right? It's the belief, it's the energy, it's the attitude, it's the words, it's, act as if, and so it is, right? Abso-freaking-lutely. So, and when you think about what the mastery is, that's your soul queendom in my world, okay? Mastery is equals your soul queendom. And here's the thing, mastery, don't get mastery twisted in believing that mastery is done. Mastery is arrived and stay. Okay? Here's an example. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am a master musician for fucking sure. I don't have to know how to play the instrument to know what needs to be done in order for that to sound right. I have an ear for music like nothing else. Music is breath for me. It's life for me. I have music on 98% of the time when I am awake, and at least like 3% of the time while I'm asleep. When I say music, I mean good music for my soul and powerful music and, things like that. My house is really, 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 really quiet right now. And I'm always used to having frequency or healing or instrumentals or whatever it is that my soul calls for. It's always here when I'm working, except for when I'm live. And because it's not here while I'm doing this, I always feel like something is missing. But Facebook's a fucking nightmare. And if I have music on, it likes to, it'll like to mute you and things like that. So I don't have it on. I am masterful at music. Like I can hear something and I can tell my oldest if it'll be a hit. I feel it in every bit of my bones. I know in a choir if someone is off in tune, and it could be 50 people in a choir. Like that's what I'm talking about. I'm extremely, extremely masterful. I feel the composition and the way that it was created and the energy when the person created the song. I very rarely listen to words. I'm usually feeling the energy of the actual music that was made, how it was produced, how it was pulled together, that sort of thing, right? Just because I am a master in music, I am a master in music, and I also have so much more to learn. So you could be masterful and a beginner at the same time. I will never learn how to play a saxophone, a flute, a clarinet, none of that fucking shit. I have no fucking desire to learn how to do any of that. I could take my mastery to the next level to learn how to do that. Not going to happen, right? I can read all percussion music, which means I can read piano music. I can read all of the other music, because a percussionist has to know how to read all different types of music. People don't really know that, but you do, right? So I could take my mastery to a next level by learning how to play the drum set and read music while I play the drum set. I know how to read the music, but I've never played a drum set while reading music, right? So just because I'm masterful, there's always space to learn more. So when you think of mastery, remember how we talked about nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give it? It would be highly suggested that your definition of mastery is a high level of understanding and knowing, and at a level that most people don't have. So when you look at mastery, you're thinking top 1%, or maybe in this conversation, top 5, right? Just because you're in the top 5%, there's still the opportunity to learn and get better and get better and get better. So I wanted to put that out there because I'm telling you, mastery equals your soul queendom. Your soul queendom is every area of your life, and the different spider webs of those different areas. That is what you're doing. That is what you're building, right? And in a lot of ways, I feel masterful in a lot of different areas of my life. I've been on this journey for 21 years. And just as much as I am a master, I am a brand new fucking student. Why? Because your lessons bring you right back to the humble reality that you ain't shit. And there's more to do to ascend, to evolve, to become better, right? Okay. So Saturn's role in your healing journey, okay? Yeah, exactly. Crystal says, I feel like I have a mastery of knitting, but still do so much to learn with, especially with the color work and the clothing construction. Absolutely. I'm a master seamstress on a sewing machine. However, there's a lot to learn. There's always a lot to learn. There's a lot of ways to apply what you know in your mastery level in different areas to become even better. Yes. All right. So Saturn is teaching your soul how to build itself and how to build a business at the same time. Okay. So your Saturn placement is going to show you the soul lesson you're here to master in this lifetime. And right now we're on the soul side of it. So this is the soul lesson that you're here to master in this lifetime. And Saturn will show you the thing that your soul came here to learn. Okay. Learn what your soul came here to learn. Your North Node is what your soul came here to do. Your Saturn is what you came here to learn, the structure, the discipline, the mastery that your soul is here and seeking, right? And until you learn that lesson, Saturn, like I keep telling you, will keep presenting you with the same situation, same blocks and same walls over and over and over until you finally surrender and do it Saturn's way. However, it's the same situation, same blocks, same walls over and over and over and over. Saturn, though, gets more and more and more and more intense. Saturn is ruled by Scorpio, who is ruled by Mars, and Saturn is fire, right? There's a lot of fire energy. Saturn demands action in a very structured, methodical, stable, and systematic way. So Mars demands fast action. Let's go, rapid fire. And Saturn goes, I want the fire, but I want it right. And I want it strong. And I want it over time. And I want it to last. Mars is like, I don't give a fuck if it lasts. Saturn's like, well, when it doesn't, I'll be here to make sure it does, right? That's the point there. So a lot of people feel that I was saying Saturn is karmic, right? If you do, then this and then that and then that. People don't really understand karma. Karma is the harmony of, actually, I would say, I'll use a different word. Saturn is the equalization of two things, two sides, two ideas, two beings. It's a good example of this, cause and effect, right? With a cause as effect, it's automatic. You don't get to decide. If you take this action, there's going to be an effect, period. The only way you have control over this is the action that you give. And also, you still don't have control over the effect, because you might take this action and think this is going to be the result, and you get a different result, and you think, well, what the fuck? It doesn't matter what the fuck I do. It's never going to work for me. It does matter what you do. However, it's working for you in the way that is best and suited for you to heal and grow and evolve, not the way you have it in your head to control, right? And that's the love that Saturn brings. Saturn loves you enough to keep teaching you the lesson until you get it. But I like to talk about 2025 feeling like a tennis shoe in a dryer. If you've ever had a tennis shoe in a dryer, it's like thud, right? Thud. God, if you were in that dryer as it's turning, just imagine falling on your fucking head over and over, right? Saturn is the dryer. It's going to do its job, and you get to decide how hard it is on you, right? So the next layer of the soul lesson that Saturn brings is where your soul is being asked to mature. You guys will hear a lot of aggression probably today in my voice, because today is for me as much as it is for you, right? These are all lessons for me as a master in so many different areas of healing and self-awareness and emotional intelligence and all these things that we've been talking about over the last few days. I am masterful at those things while also getting my fucking ass handed to me through my lessons and my evolution and my ascension. All right. Is to knit a detailed color work like a Fair Isle ski sweater this year. Okay, so that's your intention right now, right? Is to create a detailed color work like a Fair Isle ski sweater. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. So Saturn represents maturity, responsibility, and the adult self. Okay? So your Saturn placement's going to show you where your soul is being asked to grow the fuck up, to stop reacting like a wounded child and start responding like a sovereign adult who gets to make the choices and the decisions of where they're being led and what they do, how they do it, and when they do it. Nothing in life is happening to you. It is happening for you. And it doesn't matter if what is happening feels like and is the most painful thing you've ever been through. It is happening for you. And until you accept that, you will feel like a victim. Okay? So Saturn says, stop avoiding the hard thing and start doing it anyways. Whether that's the room that you've let get out of control, it's a fucking disaster. And now you don't have the energy and the capacity to clean out that space. Saturn doesn't give a fuck. Saturn says, grow up. You're not a 14-year-old child. You're not a fucking teenager. Clean up your space, because what your space is outside, that's how you feel inside. If you can't figure out what's going on in here and how you're feeling in here, you might want to look around at your spaces first and foremost. Where you spend your time, where you go to recharge. If that space is not set, it isn't a recharge. Like, you see all this shit back here? You guys are like, oh my God, your office is so cute. I'm like, what the fuck? My office actually isn't a mess, but this shit does not work for me. There is no organization. There is no rhyme or reason. It does not flow for me. It does not feel good. I'm not taking the time to do it. Why? Because I'm taking the time to center myself every day so I don't burn down relationships and people and emotions, right? So this is a prime example. This might look okay for you, but this is a wreck for me and my personality. You can come into my living room is a nightmare, right? Because I'm changing my decor's energy and where it's set and what is set. I'm going to get rid of shit that I've had for years that I'm no longer aligned with. It's done. I'm done with it. And I'm buying more spiritual items to go all over in my house. My bathroom is a sacred bath temple. My bedroom is a sacred bedroom. And then I have a sacred space in my room. If you walk into my bedroom, you know, where I sleep, your whole body will relax. The smell, the energy, the aura, my bedroom, bathroom, my whole suite, I'll call it my sacred suite. Then I don't have to use so many words, or then I get to use less words, right? My whole sacred suite is protected and honored and taken care of every single day. I live like an adult. I'm giving you this an example because this is so fucking important. You want to build an empire that pays you 6 figures plus per year? What does your desk look like? What does the space where you build look like? What does the space where you build feel like? Do you have it set to call in the energy that you're asking for? Do you have crystals for money or whatever the fuck you're into, right? Do you have things around you that breathe life and ground you? Like, listen, if you could see my desk right now, it drives me fucking nuts. But it's not because it's disorganized. My desk is very organized. You want to know why it drives me nuts? Because I have 5 plants, 6 plants, 7 plants around this area of my desk because this is where the fucking window is. So I don't have the space I want on my desk for other things. But guess what? I'm breathing life into them every day. I'm watering them, 4 or 5 days a week. I'm talking to them. I'm asking how they're feeling. Daniel knocked one off the other day and it broke the other one's arm off. And so now it's in a fucking glass and I'm seeing how to do root systems and fucking water. I don't even know how to do this. I know I'm a Taurus and earth sign and green thumb and fuck all that. I don't know. I'm working on that. So my space isn't here in front of me what I would deem set for what I want to attract, but that's control. These plants asked to be here. They were not here. Okay. They asked to be here. They asked me to move them here. They said, I want to be right here where this sunlight is with you, where you do your best work. And I'm like, you're fucking suffocating me. All right. I have plant hangers and things and they're going to come off my desk and go up eventually. But the point is this: grow up, right? Grow in, grow through, go around, grow with. Stop waiting for permission and start claiming your authority now. We talked about this yesterday. I am taking space to recharge. I am taking space to recharge. I will let you know when I'm available again. That is claiming your authority, right? That's you claiming your authority. That's not you saying, oh, how do you feel if I just go take a few minutes to myself? Fuck that. How about I'm going to go recharge. I'll let you know when I'm available. Maybe you're going to give a little bit more. I'm at capacity. I'm going to lose it. If, I really want to value, honor, and respect you, our house's container, our relationships container, whatever the fuck it is. So I'm just going to go recharge and reset. It's been a long day. I'll see you in a few. Claim authority. But that's in life and relationships and soul, right? You do the same thing in your business. What's your authority? Who the fuck are you? How the fuck do you show up? What's that energy, right? Why are you constantly shrinking down? Oh, being quiet. Every single day of this challenge, here's transparency. This is like relinquishing control at the highest of fucking levels. You have no idea. This challenge was a fucking nightmare from the gate. It felt like square peg, round hole. All of the month of December. I set up the challenge the month before the challenge goes. Okay. And so we're going to pause on Saturn, but this is probably right in line. I don't even know. We'll see. We're going to see. I do it the month before. Well, when it came for the wealth reset, all the branding you saw, everything that I created, I did that in the month of November. I was so fucking excited for this challenge in the month of November. I was on it. I was ready. I wanted to build. I wanted to create. I wanted to get it set. But you know what I said to myself? Slow down. Enjoy. Be in flow. Relax. You have the whole month of December to build this challenge out. So while I was in power, energy, flow, let's fucking go, I stopped myself. This branding of this challenge was built when I was the most connected. And I believe the branding of this challenge is pretty fucking bomb. Yeah, it doesn't match my branding, but it matches a wealth reset. It matches soul astrology. It matches what we're doing here, right? Love it. When it came time for me to do the work for this challenge in December, It was a fucking nightmare. I was disconnected. I didn't feel like doing it. I almost canceled this challenge multiple times. You guys didn't even know it was coming, so it didn't matter. I could have pulled it off my calendar and did something else with my life. And it was miserable. I had a breakdown. Like, it was shit. Well, that's because I chose to force myself to slow down at a time that I was so excited to build. And and every single step through this challenge has shown me my lessons. I feel like there's a lot of Saturn at work here. Crystal always says, slow down to speed up. I think that that's Saturn's motto. To be honest with you, I believe that that's Saturn's motto. Slow down to speed up, right? Because I did not come into this challenge feeling like, oh my God, like this is it. I'm on fire. I'm going to kill this. Oh my fucking God. Somehow I manifested a Jamba Juice. I didn't. Oh my gosh, you know what I did? I did manifest a Jamba Juice. Yesterday I was like, everything I need is on 50. I'm talking to Daniel really quick, but you guys can listen to. Everything I need is on 5600 West. So I could do a soul treat here. And then I went, no, there is no Jamba Juice over here. That would not work. And then Jamba Juice showed up today. It's like, it doesn't have to be in the location, Alicia, in order for it to show up. Yeah. See, that's control, right? That's funny. Okay, anyways. Thank you. Razzmatazz. Woo. Okay. I manifested a fucking Jamba Juice and I didn't even know it. Oh. So completely disconnected. As I was coming into this challenge, all of these old thought processes and ways that I operated and ways that I thought and the ways that I was being and all of the things started showing up. And I was like, okay, Saturn, you have an opportunity here. Because of the way that you operated coming into this challenge, there's some contention here. Let's think of like a relationship, right? The way you operated coming into this challenge, there's some contention here. And what are you going to do with it? Because it's going to show up in your attendance. It's going to show up in your registrations. I had an intention for 200 people to be registered for this challenge. I think 28 registered. So I have a choice. I can go to past control form. I could have ran to Crystal or Daniel or Graham or whatever and been like, oh my God, it was 200 and it was only there's 28 and I spent $150 on ads and like those 5 people didn't even do it. You know what I did? I'm holding to what I'm manifesting. I know that 7 women by the end of July are coming into my Soul Wealth Blueprint because I want to control that it comes through 200 registrations, 40 show ups. My call schedule is booked out based on the attendance of this challenge and people registering. That's what challenge 1 showed me, is that the people would show up, they would get on the call, and then they would step forward for themselves. And that's exactly how challenge 1 went. I knew that. This fucking challenge has been hard because I chose not to move when it felt good. And Saturn's like, okay, you're going to learn this lesson. Actually, we're going to learn a few. First lesson you're going to learn is you don't get to control the outcome, even if you believe it's going to go this way. You can hold on to that belief, but if you keep holding on to exactly how it's going to go step by step by step, it won't work. Do you know how many people get bummed when they do a masterclass or they do a challenge or they do a webinar and 3 to 5 people show up, like has been the last few days? People get so frustrated and they get so bummed out. And I have done that plenty of times. I would have shown up less. I would have shown up, but it wouldn't have been in the same energy. And I would have gotten bummed out. And by the time we got to the last day, actually, I would already be probably crying by now. Like once today ended, I'd probably cry and say, I did all this, and only my clients showed up, and what do I do? And you know what I said? I know how many people by the end of January 2026 are going to come into the Soul Wealth Blueprint. Whether or not they come through this exact step-by-step vessel and process is what I'm here to learn. This isn't mind control. I've learned lots of things. When you're in the zone, you do it no matter fucking what. It doesn't matter that it's the holidays and the this and the that. What does your energy tell you? Whatever your energy tells you, you fucking move. You don't hold yourself back or put yourself in a box because of the day of the week or the time of the day or the time of the year or the holiday season or that it's your birthday or that it's your partner's birthday or that it's it doesn't fucking matter. What does your soul say? Because when your soul's excited and your soul says go, you fucking go. But then what happens if you go and the result doesn't look like the way that you want? I'm holding on to the 7 women's lives I'm going to change. I have no idea exactly what that's going to bring in dollar amount because that doesn't matter. I mean, I could do math on that, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to focus on the women I'm calling in. My old version, I would have done the math. I would have ran the numbers. Okay, if I just get this many registered, and then that's many closed, I would have done that. Especially if what I thought how this was going to go stopped not going that way or didn't go that way at all, I would have started controlling or thinking I was controlling. Then the lesson is let it go. If you say that you have 7 women who are going to show up, that you're going to transform their lives by the end of January, you hold on to that and you do what you said. You show up every day. You leave it all out on the field. You create this challenge like it's worth the $1,000 that you guys said that it was yesterday. And you know that the universe will lead you. And that's it. Obviously, I know how I'll get the calls booked. I know I've been in business for a long time. So I know, right? But my point is that I'm claiming my authority. I'm claiming my power. I'm claiming my choice to say the attendance live doesn't matter. The transformation for each person is all I give a fuck about. There's plenty of people watching replays, right? But if you get hung up on this, then what do you do on the result that you said that was coming for you? This is a huge lesson for me. You can ask Crystal. I would have already sent her a message, freaking the fuck out. It would have happened before the challenge started. We would have talked about it Monday. We would have talked about it yesterday. We would have already talked about it today. We would have brainstormed ways to make it better and how to do this and how to do that. We would have worked our asses off over the last 3 days, just dumping all of this energy, time, attention, and effort into it to get it to this and to get it to that and to control form it every step of the way and to pull the people in and have them do it. I haven't sent her a message at first. Actually, here's one other thing I want to give you. Well, let me say this and then I'll say that. Stop looking for a shortcut and start building the foundation. On challenge weeks, I hardly work. This was a commitment that I made to myself before I did challenge 1. Yes, you would have. Crystal says, I would have spent the last 3 days messaging people, reaching out, doing all the things. Or I would have, or we both would have. Texting manually, this and that, right? There's no shortcut, right? And you got to show up and give what it is you say you want in return. So I take pretty much the whole challenge week off. I'll do a couple of tasks, get some things set, get some things going, and then I come into session with you. So when our session goes to start, I sit down about 90 minutes before the session starts. I go through the things that are pressing, that are saying, hey, this is what is on the agenda today to be completed today as a top priority. And then I have my other items that are like, okay, we'll see what happens. So when I sit down in that 90 minutes, I do the top priorities and however long that takes me. If it takes me all 90 minutes, then I go into my notes, I go through them, I connect with them, see if there's anything I want to upgrade, everything else. Okay. And then I show up for you. And that's what I do. But what do I do before I get to the 90 minutes before? Well, Monday, I woke up, did my tarot reading, did some journaling, and I went and got a massage. Yesterday, I woke up, did some journaling, tarot reading, went and got my nails done, came back. My energy was off. So I did another recharge with, sage and oils and all the fucking things. And I started sorting. It's not random. I was led to sort all of these motivational stickers I have. I think I probably have 1,000 stickers. I bought them. My past version of me got them early to 2025 or mid 2025. And I had this whole plan, and I bought these 2 3-ring binders, and I was going to put all these stickers on these binders. And this is what I was going to use this binder for. And this is what I'm going to use that binder for. And the stickers were going to remind me of who I was, and blah, blah, blah. Got all the shit and did nothing with it. Nothing whatsoever when I bought it. My past self got me ready for yesterday. So yesterday, I sorted through all of these stickers. If it connected with me on the spiritual center that I'm helping build, boom, I put it there. If it connected with me on my soul side and just personal empowerment, I put it here. Boom, 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 boom. Sorted through all these fucking stickers. Somebody would think that's what you chose to do instead of build your business. You sorted through fucking stickers. Yep, that's what I did. I sat there and sorted through stickers. I had my peaceful sounds on, and that's what the fuck I did. For I don't even know how long, probably 2 hours. Didn't put a sticker of fucking first on either of these 3-ring binders. This week, I've also created a 3-ring binder for my own moon stuff and planetary stuff. And so I can journal my soul and wealth questions like we do inside of the Soul Wealth Blueprint. I printed out, the transits for January, all of that, put it in one thing. In my spiritual class that I'm in, I printed out all the papers. I did the homework for that. I read the, ungodly amount of chapters that we have each week to read, which is like 4 or 5 chapters a week at minimum. And then the whole fucking study guide for that module. There's a lot of work in the spiritual class, right? So I did that. Some would say well, why didn't you take this action that Crystal's talking about? Come on, let's go. Because that's what I've always done. And it doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't light me up. And it just fucking weighs so heavily. My stomach is in knots and fucking twisted and miserable. I'm fucking bitchy and rude and mean. What? For what? That's not going to help the result either. So that's what I did this week. And here we are, right? So thank you so much, Jessica. Build the foundation, claim your authority, and take the hard thing and start doing it anyways. That is a hard thing for me. Relinquishing control is the hardest thing for me. I want everything the way that I want it, the way that I thought that it was going to be, and in the order that I thought it was going to be in, and come out with the result the way that I intended it to be. It doesn't matter if it's my business, if it's relationships, if it's my own healing, it's my kids' healing, my partner's healing, my mother, all of it. I want to control everything. I want to control everything at a level that most of you can't even conceive. But I know what it does to me. And what did we talk about yesterday? When you make a change, you make it for yourself first. You're doing it for yourself first. You're doing it to take care of yourself first. As soon as this challenge is over, I leave. I go to Salt Lake, to the spiritual center place. It's a vision board night. Okay. I'm the director of marketing and communications. So these events I'm at, right? I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in the energy. I don't want to do it. Why not? Well, it's been kind of a frustrating day. Has nothing to do with business. But guess what? Saturn's over here going, hey, your frustrating day is because here's a lesson. So if you're not learning a lesson in business, you're learning a lesson in your, love relationships. And if you're not learning a lesson in love relationships, you're learning a lesson in business. And if you're not learning a lesson over here in business, then you're learning a lesson over here with yourself. And if you're not learning a lesson here over with yourself, your kids are doing something or saying something, and you're learning the lesson over here. And then for fuck's sakes, the dog just shit on the floor. And now you've got to learn that lesson because you didn't set a fucking timer to take him out. It's like, when you have reprieve in one space, or you're doing the right thing by yourself, for yourself in one area, it can feel like another space is that you don't like, that things aren't working and everything's falling apart and it's collapsing. And one of my most powerful embodiments is learning that each thing has its own container. So fuck yeah, I passed this lesson in business, or I am passing it, right? Because we're still in the challenge. We're not at the end of January yet. So I am passing this lesson in business, and I'm failing the lesson in relationship. And I kind of am failing the lesson with myself because I'm failing the lesson in relationship. So what do? Do I burn down the business? Do I send Crystal a message freaking the fuck out today because regulation has been my focus? And any up or down moment, I could just lose it and say, fuck this challenge, nothing works right, I hate this business, blah, 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 or go, here we go. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to be different? How are you going to show up? How are you going to grow? How are you going to shift? How are you going to change? Because Saturn says, here's the opportunity. What are you going to do with it? Okay. I'm going to hold my ground, and I'm a little bit spicy here in this relationship. Because I was a little bit spicy, and I'm going to say a little bit spicy. Over here, I'm like processing, what could I have done better for myself? But then I go, I don't know. I really don't have an answer for that. Good. Then that spiciness was what was needed. Let it ride and fuck it. Okay, cool. Well, now you're showing up for this challenge. And in the back of your mind, you have this event that you're going to after this. God, I just capacity, energy, attitude, How are you going to show up here while you got this thing rolling? Do you want to know how I do it all? Start at the beginning of this challenge and listen to the whole thing. I show up, I leave it all out on the field. I'm honest as fuck. And that's where we are. So this is your soul maturation work. Doing it anyways, the hard thing. Claiming your authority by giving yourself permission and building the fucking foundation, brick by brick, step by step. There's no shortcut. Okay? All right. What has connected with you so far? Let's do a shout out in the comments. We're an hour into this, and we haven't even gone through the rest of the soul, and even gone into the business. So we will start speeding up in just a minute, but I'm in this slow point because I want to ground. I want to ground the lesson and show you how I'm living the Saturn lessons right now. I don't even know what I said about failing. I don't even know what my words are or were. I don't remember what I just said that had failing, but I know I was talking about the spicy moment. Oh, I think I said, and then, how am I failing myself over here? That is a strong word. Where do I need to show up for myself better over here? Yeah, first thing to healing is getting really honest with yourself, even if it's scary. The problem is everybody is a bunch of bitches. Men, women alike, children alike. Everybody is a bunch of bitches. And then I'm judged for that. This one thing I notice about living in this world is I'm so real and honest with myself that it makes other people uncomfortable. I was once dating this guy that I don't even remember what the disagreement was, but I looked at him and I said, I realize that my part to hold in this and play in this was this, and this. And I will do better at that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. When I did that, he got fucking pissed. And I was so confused. And I didn't do it with aggression or anything like that. Tone. And I'm very aware of when I'm having a shitty tone and when I'm not. You're never going to hear me go, oh, I didn't realize I was being rude. No, I fucking remember. I know when I'm being rude. Okay. I'm self-aware, right? Hey, Betty. He got so pissed. And that was the moment that I realized that people don't like it when you actually take accountability. unless they have to fight for that accountability. And, it's their control. If they pushed you into that corner for that accountability, then that's when they like it. That's when they accept it. That's when they are open to it. But if you just own that accountability from the beginning, it really makes people uncomfortable, and it happens everywhere. Just like at the nail salon, like I was telling you yesterday. She said, why do you do that? Why do you treat yourself like that? Why are you so hard on yourself? Why are you always working and assessing and thinking about how you can be better? She did not like that. She felt that that was a negative thing, that I was being too hard on myself. What she doesn't understand is when I'm being hard on myself is when I'm acting like the rest of the world, the victim. I'm a piece of shit. I'm not good enough. I failed at that. Da, da, da. That's when you're being hard on yourself. If you are analyzing, studying, going soul deep, alchemizing, and what comes out of you is a better action, a better version of yourself, and a better way you show up for yourself, I don't want you to feel sorry for me for that. So it's not even a man thing, right? People are uncomfortable with ownership and self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Everywhere I go, I make people uncomfortable with those things. Everywhere I go. Because of what you said here, Crystal. Get real honest with yourself, even if it's scary. Pay attention. People will deny your pain and how you feel because they don't want to be honest enough with themselves and the actions, words, whatever the fuck they did that impacted that. Why? Because they don't want to be honest with themselves because it's too scary. What's going to happen if they admit that they let you down, that they didn't keep their word, that they caused pain, that they caused a disconnect, that their lack of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and those things is what's destroying or crippling this relationship, or I don't know, why you're not getting the raise or whatever the fuck it is, right? Jessica says, learning the lesson and being honest with yourself, being masterful. Cool. Joanne's takeaway so far is there's always space to learn more. Yeah, I love that, Crystal. You aren't intimidating. They have a self-esteem issue and they're going to make it your problem. And they would be the world. The world has a self-esteem issue, right? We learned this last night, right? 98% of the world lives in the victim. Betty says, I don't live in a gray world where I pick my words to make others feel good. I live in the black and white world where if it's wrong, I make it known to them and they were wrong. They can take me or leave me alone. Boom. Okay, all right. So number 3 way that Saturn shows up in self. I said, we're going to spend today in wealth, since this is the wealth reset and we were so deep yesterday. I tricked you. We have spent the entire time in soul so far, and wealth is probably going to be about this much, but that's because that's where I'm led. That's where I'm being led. And so that's where we are. I don't control my trainings. I got my notes and I have everything I would love to cover and I share, and then I let divine source energy work through me to deliver exactly what it is that you need and where you're at in your life. And I am just the vessel to deliver the information that you need to do the work that you want to do, Yes. So what do you do when other people don't take accountability for what they lack or what they did? I don't have that fucking answer. I mean, obviously, c'est la vie. Teach their own. That's your burden to bear. You will have heard me say that, or have heard me say that a lot in my trainings. And that's always easier said than done, because if you know that their action is going to impact you and your relationship and the outcome, whatever that relationship is, that's my biggest lesson. Not saving people from the decisions that they make, leading them to the consequences that neither of us want. I always interfere and grab it and stop and heal and coach and change it and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And when I don't, I kind of carry this fucking chip on my shoulder like I have today, because I'm not doing that. I'm just going, hopefully you figure it the fuck out. And then I'm over here going, what if they don't? That would really hurt me. What if they don't? Oh, that can't happen. It's okay. Just da-da-da. Just da-da-da. Just da-da-da. How could you have been better? How could you hold better? How could you show up better? I'm always that person that says, if I just change enough, then it will be enough. And that's my biggest work. That's probably my fucking Saturn lesson. If I change enough, then it'll be enough, and then we'll be good, or then this friend will love me, or my mom will call me more, or da 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 da. It never fucking works. It never fucking works. All right. So the structure your soul needs in order to feel safe. So one thing that people really get wrong about Saturn is that it's about restriction. Okay. We talked about karma being equalized, cause and effect, right? Karma is not good or bad. So when people go, ha ha ha, that's karma. That's equalization, because they had something that was good. They had something that they were blessed with. And then they were given the opportunity for the growth, the transformation, the lesson, whatever it was, and they didn't take that. And so what happens is that's when Saturn speaks up and says, fine, we're going to equalize it. That's not karma, it's equalizing. Okay, it's very, very, very important. Karma is not about good or bad, it's about equalizing. So if you have something great, it doesn't mean that there won't be an equalization to help you grow. But people do think that. Oh, if everything is so good and then there's an equalization, then that is bad. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. Is it bad, or are you staying in harmony with the earth that is perfect harmony? The trees automatically grow. They automatically go into hibernation. The birds automatically fly. Everything automatically fucking happens. That's Saturn. That's karma. It's an automatic equalization of life. That's what it is. Oh, thank you. Betty, I tried that. Doesn't work. Oh, I love I just feel you. I've always felt you from day one. It makes me so happy. Tried that. Doesn't work. All right, so Saturn is protecting you. So that's another big thing about Saturn. It's going to bring in that protection, right? So Saturn's restrictions are boundaries, containers, structures that keep you safe while you're doing deep soul work. So if you're doing deep soul work, let's go back to the relationship. We've used that a lot as an example today. If you're doing deep soul work and you feel unsafe in your relational container, Saturn is going to call forth an opportunity for you to get safety in that relationship so that you can feel safe in doing your soul work. So tell me this. Have you ever noticed that when you are going through a deep transformation and everything else alike, your relationship tends to go off the deep end at the same time? When I say everything else is alike, you're still showing up the same in the relationship, still loving them, still, holding your side of the container. You're just in your sacred circle, you're doing your deep soul work. Have you ever noticed how that rocks the equilibrium of your romantic relationship? That's because you're not usually in the deep soul work level. And now you're calling forth a level of safety in this romantic relationship in order to do this work if they are going to be there actively while you're doing it. So then it feels like, fuck, this is all fucked up. That's all fucked up. This is too much for me. Is it? Or is it just exactly what's being called forth because they're holding the safety so that you can do the depth and feel protected and safe enough to do the work that you're being called to do? But if they aren't holding that safety, Saturn says that is calling you to I'm doing my best to figure out positive phrasing here. Saturn's calling you to say that is calling your attention before you feel safe enough to do this, because this opportunity and this lesson's been here. You've just been ignoring it because it wasn't powerful enough to be something that you actually gave your attention to learn that lesson. And if you don't learn the lesson now, you won't have the safety that this growth needs. Does this make sense? Yes, you guys all with me? I don't know if you've ever noticed when you do deep work that all of a sudden over here, the equilibrium gets fucked up. And it seems as though it's because you did something wrong, or you're not doing what you were normally doing, or you're not showing up the way that you were. But if all things are alike, what ends up happening is the reason why that's happening is because this work is triggering something here, and this is calling forth first before you can go here. But if this never changes, if the safety never comes, if the lesson is never learned, that relationship is stunting your deep soul work. Then what do you do? Okay. So Saturn placement shows you structure so your soul can feel safe enough to expand, to transform, and to become. And this is also a really powerful realization is the people in your quality world. Did you build a life container of the people around you that can hold you? Did you? Most of us don't, because we're never fucking thinking about that. We're not putting the effort in that. That's not even a fucking thought in our mind until it's something that we're calling forth and we're like, what the fuck did we do? There's no friend to call. The partner's a fucking wreck. What do I do? Quote unquote, my mom's too busy. Like, whatever it is, what do I do? I'm now in a space that is calling for safety, and I have built an entire world around me where those people, let's say, aren't showing up, or they don't notice me, or they're not here to do this with me. I don't know if you run. Maybe not. Depends on how much you love them. It depends on a whole bunch of things, right? So keep in mind that without a solid structure around you, you collapse, you scatter, and you start over. You are the center of that structure, meaning you hold you first. It's like ring, 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 right? It's multiple rings out. Oh my God, like Saturn, right? So it's rings, but you hold the center of that. You hold the container of that. You have the choice in that. You curate the container of your life. And Saturn says you are the center of that container. And in your growth and in your experiences, in your transformation, in your evolution, you will be calling on pieces of that container to hold that safe space for you while you do the deep work. And generally, you're going to call on the person or people that are closest to you. Your partner, first and foremost. Secondarily, it could be, let's say, your mom, your sister, or your soul sister / spirit animal. But what do you do if all those people feel that they're not there? Or what do you do if you reach and those people aren't available for you? They don't hold that container for you. How do you do the deep soul work? Is the lesson to learn to do that work, to hold your own container because you've curated a container that can't hold you while you're building your new container? Is the lesson to build a container of people that can hold you and then, or while you're working on the depth? It just depends on what your soul calls for, right? Both and, right? So here's where it gets powerful. Your Chiron will show you what needs to heal, okay? And then your Saturn placement shows you how to build the structure to hold that healing. So let's say you have, and actually, let's do this really quick. What sign is your Saturn in? This is important to know when we go to the business. Go to Astros, Saturn, mine's in Scorpio. Drop it in the chat. What sign is your Saturn in? Okay, that's what I want to know. So let's say your Saturn's in Taurus. The soul lesson is your soul is learning to build through slow accumulation, to trust that slow and steady wins, to value substance over speed, and to understand that real wealth, real healing, real soul transformation is built over time, not overnight. I am an extremely impatient human being, and I'm well more patient than I ever used to be. If my Saturn is in Taurus and it's calling for a slow, sustainable accumulation of transformation, relation, connection, and these things, and I'm trying to push these relationships as fast as I can, the business as fast as I can, and whatever it is at my speed, that is surely going to fucking backfire. So the soul maturation is to stop chasing anything fast, fast money, fast connection, fast depth, right? And stop abandoning things that don't work immediately, right? Commit to the long game. Your soul is maturing into the queen who builds generational wealth, generational healing, generational power in relationships and connection. It's not about herself, but for everyone that comes after, including herself. Okay? So the structure you need: routines, rituals, slow build systems. This is still Saturn and Taurus. A business that prioritizes sustainability over viral movements, and grounded practices that connect you to your body, to the earth, to pleasure as a form of wealth. And how this supports your healing is if your Chiron wound is around worthiness, let's say it's in your second house, or scarcity, fear of lack, then Saturn in Taurus teaches you how to build your worth through committed, grounded action. You don't prove your worth, you embody your worth through discipline, through devotion, through showing up day after day after day. I have always said that people cannot treat you the way you don't already treat yourself. And I really, really, really am being called to connect to that today, literally, figuratively, at levels than I feel that I ever have. I feel like I've said that a lot in my life while embodying it and ignoring it all at the same time. And I feel today Saturn is saying, you have to live that. You are required to live that. Every single fucking thing you say about someone else that you feel, good or bad, is because of how you treat yourself. So if there's bad things in the way that someone else is treating you, in the way that they're showing up, the first thing you want to do is look at, how am I treating myself that way? Not to save the relationship or the job or the business or whatever the fuck it is, but to give yourself what your soul needs first and foremost, so that you can lead yourself the best place possible to get what you want out of life and for it to feel the way that you want it to feel. Everyone and everything is your mirror. If you feel invisible, it's because somewhere you're making yourself feel invisible the exact same way. If you feel abandonment, it's somewhere you are abandoning yourself the same way that this abandonment shows up. If you feel like you are needing to shrink down and be small for someone, you look at, okay, where do I feel I am or need to or have been shrinking down and being small, so on and so forth and so on and so forth. Any fucking thing you feel is in you or how you treat yourself first, right? And we tend, me included, because I'm human, to look at other people and go, you treated me that way, you said the thing, the da 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 da. And the power is stopping and going, where is this mirroring for me where I'm being called to grow? Where is this illuminating my shadow and wound where I need to grow? Because it cannot exist outside yourself if it is not inside yourself. The good and the bad. Write that down. It cannot exist outside myself if it's not already inside myself. It cannot. It defies the law, like the law of gravity. It defies it. It's impossible. It's not a thing and it never will be, right? So Saturn in Scorpio, the soul lesson, your soul is learning to build through transformation, through death and rebirth, through letting go of what no longer serves you, through going deep instead of staying on the surface. Your soul didn't come here for easy. It came here for alchemy. Yes, I fucking know. Thank you. The soul maturation. Stop avoiding the depth work. Stop staying comfortable. Stop clinging to what's dying. Your soul is maturing into the queen who surrenders to transformation, who knows that sometimes you have to burn it all down to rebuild something true. See how that doesn't say something new? Something true. The structure Saturn in Scorpio needs is deep work containers, transformational practices, shadow work, therapy, breath work, somatic healing, cyclical business models that honor death and rebirth cycles, businesses built on depth and intensity, no surface level tactics. How this supports your healing. So if your Chiron wound is around power in your 8th house, which mine fucking is, or control, fear of losing yourself, Saturn in Scorpio teaches you that true power comes from surrender, from letting go, from trusting in the transformation, and me building my wealth by building the depths. Not around the depths, but in the depths. Okay. We'll go into your actual wealth. These are just some example Saturn, soul healing, business. These are just like a chunk of them. The next one I'm going to do is Capricorn, because that's what I have on my notes. These are just, like I said, a few examples. So let's say you've got Saturn in Pisces, and that's Saturn in Capricorn, that's Saturn's home sign. So Betty has this. So the soul lesson is your soul is learning to build through mastery, through discipline, through becoming the architect of your own empire, through taking full responsibility for what you're creating. No shortcuts, no excuses, just do the work. See, that's how Saturn speaks. No shortcuts, no excuses, just do the work. Saturn is step by step, brick by brick, lesson by lesson. You cannot jump over anything. You cannot, fly through something. Zero shortcuts, step by step by step. And every time you go to take a shortcut, it will pull you back and you'll learn that lesson again, but at a higher level and a higher intensity. So the soul maturation is stop waiting for someone else to build it for you. Stop blaming external circumstances. Stop avoiding the weight of your own leadership. Your soul is maturing into the matriarch, the one who builds empires that outlives her and the one who leads. Now, thinking of the maturation, think about your relationships too. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission or to validate you, but also stop blaming other people and circumstances for your lack of feeling validated or what it is that you need for yourself. And stop avoiding the weight of what is true for you right in front of your face. So if we tweak that just a little bit for, let's say, life in general, that's what it's calling forth. And the structure that you need is a long-term vision, strategic planning, hierarchical systems, clear goals, measurable milestones, and a business built for legacy. Not just this year, but mentorship, both receiving it and giving it, right? So this tells you are in a great container for yourself right now, Betty, and I know you already knew that, okay? You already knew that, okay? That you are in a powerful container right now of receiving this knowledge so that you can give what you're here to give. Yes, Saturn equals no shortcuts. I love that, Jessica. Thank you. So how this supports your healing. So if your Chiron wound is around visibility in your 10th house, or authority, the fear of being seen as the leader, Saturn in Capricorn teaches you that mastery is your birthright. You're not an imposter, you're the architect. And the structure you build, the discipline, the commitment, the relentless showing up, that is what proves it. I'm going to go and grab really quick for you guys, the other ones of you that are live here. We will do Aries and Gemini and Aquarius because I don't have those on my notes. And I'm actually doing soul and wealth right now. So that works out great. We're getting them all covered with Saturn. Okay. I live my Saturn every day. Congratulations. I do not. Or do you mean that's how it feels every day and you're working on the light side? I'm not sure what you mean, but I think we all live our Saturns every day just getting our fucking ass handed to us. I don't know. Is that just me? Oh, wow. That's a lot. All right. So Saturn in Aries. So your soul is learning to build through bold action, but with discipline, okay? So you're here to master courage without recklessness. This is huge. Courage without recklessness for Saturn and Aries. Confidence without impulsivity. Think about that. Crystal, you're very confident in the decisions and your movements, but you're extremely impulsive. And Saturn's saying, confidence without the impulsivity. That's where you start to harmonize. Leadership without burning everything down when it gets hard. or in just your world, maybe stopping, right? I doubt you burn it all down. You just stop. Your soul came here to learn that the true pioneering energy requires commitment, right? Wholehearted commitment. It's not just the spark, but sustaining the entire fire all the way through. Now, your soul maturation is to stop starting and abandoning. Stop being the idea person who never finishes. That's funny. That's you for sure. Stop burning bridges when things get challenging. Stop confusing new with better. Your soul is maturing into the pioneer who doesn't just start the revolution, she sustains it. She commits to what she started. She becomes the warrior who knows the true courage is not about the first leap. It's about showing up on day 400 when no one's watching and the thrill is gone. Okay. I know. Saturn calls the fuck out, right? I know when I read mine just a minute ago in Scorpio, did you see my face? I was like, fuck this. All right, what comes after? Okay, the structure you need and then how this supports your healing. Okay, so the structure you need. Commitment with teeth, like just bite your teeth into it and stay there, right? Accountability containers. It's probably why you're so attracted to me, right? I am like the queen of holding people accountable. Finish lines, not just starting lines. A business built on completion, not just the initiation part. Systems that reward follow through over novelty. Containers that make you stay when your Aries energy wants to bolt. And physical practices that channels that fire energy, like boxing, running, martial arts, so that you don't burn your business down when you get bored or scared. Okay? And when you think about all these things, like your soul lesson, learning to build through bold action, you could rephrase that: learning to date through bold action, learning to live through bold action, learning to adventure through bold action, learning to experience through bold action. You might tell yourself whatever the fuck you want, but it comes down to bold action, right? So think about that. Are you actually taking the bold action that would deliver what it is your soul is calling for? Or are you stopping yourself from taking that bold action because you have your reasons and you hold on to them and those are what you've made true and told yourself, right, that it's okay because I don't really care about this anyways. I'm really not into that ways, and I really don't want to go anywhere because of that, and I really don't want to create an adventure because of that. Be mindful. This isn't just for Crystal. This is for everyone, right? And the bold action part is for her because that's what her chart is. But everything else I just said is like open, right? We can convince ourselves of anything, even complete fucking lies. So when you talk about the soul maturation outside of business, stop starting and abandoning projects. Let's say cleanliness. Let's say things you want to do, places you want to go, classes you want to take, things that you want to learn. Go all the way through. Instead of thinking about all of these things that you want to do, jump into it, right? And move, because new is not better. You already have so many things that will light your soul the fuck up. That's like, oh, this next new thing, that next new thing, right? Your Saturn and Aries is saying, fucking focus and everything will change for you. In the structure where we talk about commitments with teeth, maybe it's dating until you find the person. Maybe it's finding your mystic soul place that you go until you find your full circle of people, let's say. I'm not saying that. That was like my example, but I'm just putting that out there, right? It's staying until you find, sticking with it until you receive, staying consistent until it is. And how this all supports your healing. So let's say your Chiron wound is around worthiness in your second house, or identity in your first house. Saturn and Aries teaches you that, I know yours is in the 12th. I remember that from yesterday. Saturn and Aries teaches you that your worth isn't proven by how many things you start. It's proven by what you finish. So if your wound is around being seen in your 10th house, which is not, it's in your spirituality, in like your connection to the higher powers and that sort of thing, like your intuition, that's yours, right? But let's say it wasn't being seen, then Saturn and Aries teaches you that true leadership isn't about being the loudest or the first. It's about being the one who stays, who doesn't abandon ship when it gets hard, who builds something lasting from fire. So it's like everything that you're doing, it goes towards your 12th house, at spirituality and leadership. And so how Saturn supports your healing is like, hey, show up in that energy, put your fire into your spiritual depth and your growth and your intuition and your transformation here, right? That's what it's actually calling for you, because your Chiron's in your 12th house. I just happened to remember that and remember what the 12th house was for. For most of you guys, I won't remember what yours is or what the 12th house is, but this information, it doesn't matter. When I read mine, it just so happened it was in my 8th house, right? It doesn't matter because you already know what your Chiron is in, and now you're understanding Saturn now. So let's say Saturn in Gemini, the soul lesson, your soul is learning to build through focused communication. Focused communication. You're here to master your voice without scattering it. Your message without diluting it, your curiosity without letting it fragment you, and your soul came here to learn it through true wisdom. Not about knowing everything, but mastering one thing deeply enough to teach it. But also, if this is your soul lesson, this is your lived life lesson. And so a powerful question that you can ask yourself, Betty, because I think you're the Gemini, oh, not Betty, sorry, Jessica, that you can ask yourself is, are you mastering your calling here deeply enough to teach it? Or is it just enough to start moving? Because you will only, everybody just one step ahead of anyone else is the intention to launch a business, yeah? The question isn't about, do you have the information to teach it? It's, are you mastering it deeply enough to teach it? Are you allowing it to connect with you at the depths to teach it? Okay. So the soul maturation is stop being the eternal student who never becomes the teacher. Stop hiding behind, I need to learn more, when what you really need to do is claim your wisdom. Stop saying yes to every curiosity and no to depth. Stop confusing information with wisdom, because your soul is maturing into the teacher, the one who knows her message, owns her voice, and trusts that she doesn't need to know everything to be valuable. She needs to know her thing deeply. Crazy that your maturation is in your voice and in the power of your voice when that is what you're doing in your business. The structure you need: one core message, one area of expertise, containers that force depth over breadth, okay? And a business built on teaching. You don't want a business where you're learning and systems and all of that. It's systems that reward mastery over novelty, practices that ground your mental energy, like journaling, voice notes, walking meetings, so your brilliance doesn't scatter into anxiety. So this is giving you support and help to be focused and also clear inside yourself. Boundaries around your curiosity. This is your script to yourself. I can be curious about that without building a business around it. Okay. The structure, is that what we just said? Yeah, structure that you need. So how this supports your healing. If your Chiron wound is around communication, let's say the 3rd house, or wisdom, let's say the 9th house, then Saturn in Gemini teaches you that your voice matters, but only when you focus it. If your wound is around being smart enough or educated enough, Saturn in Gemini teaches you that wisdom isn't about how much you know. It's about how deeply you integrate what you know and how clearly you communicate it. Your soul learns that you don't need another certification. You need to teach what you already know. I love this. Okay. And lastly is Aquarius for the lives. If I didn't cover yours and you're on replay, that's just that. So Saturn in Aquarius, the soul lesson. Your soul is learning to build through structured innovation. You're here to master revolution with discipline, disruption with strategy, and vision with execution. Okay. So it's like build through structured innovation. Maybe build your life through structured innovation, your relationships through structured innovation, not just business. Okay. You're here to master revolution in all areas of your life and to disrupt the status quo of things. And then whatever you visualize, whatever you want, to fucking execute it. Your soul came here to learn that changing the world requires more than brilliant ideas. It requires systems that sustain those ideas. You're not here to burn down the old and walk away. You're here to build the new with enough structure that it lasts. Okay? The soul maturation. Stop rebelling just to be a rebel. Okay? Stop being too cool for strategy or for structure or for the boring parts of building. Stop abandoning your visions when they require sustained effort. That's huge. That's huge for you. Stop confusing unconventional with ungrounded. So, the stop abandoning your visions when they require sustained effort. This makes me wonder how many times you visualized your partner growing old with somebody, what you wanted, and that energy, and then went, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to do it, and just, walked away from it, right? Because this, again, is not just about business, because all visions require sustained effort, your entire business for your life. So stop confusing unconventional with ungrounded, because your soul is maturing into the revolutionary architect, the one who doesn't just imagine a better world. Your soul builds it brick by brick, system by system, with discipline that matches your vision. Okay? So the structure that you need: visionary plans with tactical execution in all areas of your life. Innovation with infrastructure. Community building systems that don't rely on your energy alone. In each area of your life, your friend system, your love system, your business system, your family system, all systems. A business built for the collective impact, not just for individual geniuses, right? Containers that honor your need for freedom while providing structure, flexible deadlines, autonomous work, remote teams, technology and automation that scales your vision without you burning yourself out, and strategic partnerships that distribute that work. And how this supports your soul healing. Let's say your Chiron wound is around belonging in the 11th house, or being too different, or feeling like an outsider. Saturn in Aquarius teaches you that your difference is the genius. But you have to build systems in order to share it, right? If your wound is around authority, which is your 10th house, or feeling like you have to do it all alone, your 8th house, Saturn in Aquarius teaches you that the true revolution is collective. You're not meant to build this alone. And that's the thing about you, right? Is this is Joanne, right? Yeah, Joanne, you're really in this, like, you've been operating in this alone sort of container. So it's interesting that as we continue to dive into your chart, it's like, not alone with other people. This is how you do it. This is the energy. This is how it feels. This is how it looks. This is how it works. And it's constantly coming back to that isolation, that disconnection, the doing it all alone. You're literally meant to build with your people, and your soul learns that structure doesn't kill innovation, it sustains it. Innovation in your life, innovation in your business, innovation in your relationships with yourself and other people. It is literally calling you out and saying the way that you're living is in the growth portion of your chart instead of in the light portion of your chart. And the more that we all stay in the growth portion, we're always in the repair stage, not healing, but we're constantly in repair. The whole key is to be in light and repair, and light and repair, and light and repair. But if you aren't paying attention to that, you end up living in the repair / growth / wound / shadow, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You end up living in the growth, and you never get to really enjoy the light. The light ends up being the goal instead of what is part of the process. So you constantly think about, and this is for that last part I just said is for everyone, right? Because I'm already through the different ones that I wanted to cover today for Saturn and whatever sign. It's part of that process. But if you're allowing the past to impact showing the fuck up right now, and then you take the right now that you are here, being in repair, and the work that you're doing for the future, it's literally like you're going from the past and doing the work for the future, and then the present never lands, the present never roots, the present never is never enjoyed, and the present ends up the thing that you lost when you get to the end of this lifetime, and you look back and you did nothing in the present, or all of your present was spent in an energy that your soul came here to be the opposite of, which means you'll incarnate again with a lot of the same intentions of what you want to do, And you'll be here again in a different way if you choose to come back and live another human experience, right? So is that, and don't get that twisted in perfection and coming here and doing everything right. You know, it's like the Buddhists believe that like you're here to evolve and transform and ascend so that when you leave this lifetime, you don't have to do it again. Like the Buddhists believe that you come back and you do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until you get it, right? And based on our birth charts and the intentions that we have and what I know about astrology and the work that I've done, that shows in the birth chart. Because you come here with the foundation of all of your other carnations. Why would you have that? But also we use your birth time for your rising and what was going on the horizon when you were born. But we also use your birth location because the place, the latitude, longitude of where you were born also impacts that. And when you incarnate, you choose your parents, you choose the location, you choose the time that you are going to spit out on your birth chart. Everything is aligned to that. So if you come here and you don't learn that lesson, in my mind, what are the chances that you're going to go back, quote unquote, to incarnate and go, fuck it, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose something different. Do you actually reincarnate? Do you just stay non-human intelligence? Do you say, fuck, that human life was a fun experience, but it was so hard, I'm not going to do it again? I don't know. I have no answers there. But the point is, I know that being here, I want to get the most out of it. And I want to honor it for what I came here to do. And I damn sure know that I didn't come here to be focused on the past or focused on the future, because I have a huge belief system that time is an infinity symbol. Okay. It's an infinity symbol. It's not a line. So if it's an infinity symbol, there is no beginning and there is no end. There is only now. I have this huge thing that I say is, if you believe that there's a beginning and an end, how come a baby can get in your belly without you doing anything about the sperm actually finding the egg at the moment that it does? It does it all on its own. And when it does it, that baby fucking grows on its own. All you have to do is eat and not fucking kill somebody over your hormones changing, right? Other than that, the baby does everything that it needs to do. You actually don't need the prenatal vitamins and all the bullshit that Western medicine says and all of the things. You don't need that. You already built that to hold. You're the container. You are the vessel. You actually aren't the creator. You are the vessel that is being created through. So therefore, my question to you is, if we are in a linear timeline, where the fuck did that start? It would have had to have started before the sperm and the egg. Where? How? When? It's all, in my mind, an infinity symbol. It's all an infinity symbol. And if it's all an infinity symbol, then your past is the present and the future is now. Okay? Do you guys see how all of this works? Sound off. I want to see if you're connected here. I will say, for anybody on the replay, if you have not, I don't know if my link worked yesterday. It might not have. I got a new debit card and half my shit needs the update. And I don't ever go update my debit card in all the millions of places until it tells me I have to. That's just something that I'm like, I need an assistant for that. But if you attempted to book a Soul Money Roadmap call and you haven't been able to do that, then there's the link, right? It's free. You can go and book it. If you have not had one, it will absolutely be worth it. People who have taken that call and gone through it has commented and told you. Everyone who is in my Soul Wealth Blueprint program, they have been on that call and they know. They're telling you the worth of that, right? Regardless of whether or not you move forward, it'll change everything. Just like this challenge, right? Like, it's so fucking cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys love it. Ooh, that's good. Fight or flight mode. Well, I think that fight or flight is actually present because you're thinking, do I want to stay and fight or do I want to run? I actually think fight or flight mode is actually a present thought process. Because if you're focused on the past or focused on the future, you're not in fight or flight. You're just in analysis paralysis. You're just going over and going over and going over. I would much rather have someone in fight or flight mode because now we have something to work with. Joanne says, yes, I've always done things myself alone, but I'm working on asking people for help. Okay, so one thing I would say about that is zoom out, right? Instead of pigeonholing in it what the message is asking for help, because that's actually not what I received. Instead of it being about asking for help, it's about just connecting and engaging and creating a full life of people around you, friends, happiness, experience, love, all of those things, right? So zoom out of help and zoom into the container. Who's around you that will be there to hold you, that you will be there to hold, and that reciprocity, that give and take, and that cause and effect. Good, good, good. Thank you, Betty. Betty says, please make the appointment. It's the best free information you will ever receive. Yes, thank you guys. You guys are really amazing. I appreciate you guys throwing that down in the chat. So remember, Chiron shows you the wound. Saturn shows you the structure that holds that healing. So when you align your life and your business with both, then you have a business that heals the Chiron wound and honors the Saturn lesson, and you feel aligned with yourself. Like that's when everything just comes together. Okay. I taught so much of this without looking at my notes. Okay, so let's talk about working with Saturn instead of against it, and then we are going to wrap up here. Most people spend years fighting against their Saturn placement. And then they see Saturn's restrictions and obstacles, and they're like, so many limitations. And then you redirect that into being that something is wrong with you. But here's what happens when you surrender to Saturn. You actually start building. You actually start healing. You start seeing Saturn as your container. You start learning it, and it makes more sense, and you learn faster and faster and faster. And when you finally align your soul and your business with Saturn's lesson and what Saturn's asking you to build, then everything will change for you. And it will be incremental changes because you will be doing it in different ways. I remember Saturn says step by step by step by step. Okay, it's not a suddenly work. Saturn, if you want to think of Saturn like a compound effect of taking the right actions over and over and over again. Because at that point, as you're taking those right actions, your soul finally has the structure it needs to hold the transformation of you, right? That's the power here. The Chiron wound can finally heal because it has a safe container to heal in. Oh my God. Will you sit down, please? Lula, quit being annoying. What is it? 4:52. The pig's hungry, so she's going to be annoying. Sorry if it's loud in the background. So your Chiron moon can finally heal because it's a safe container to heal in, okay? Your business can finally grow because it's built on a foundation that holds. And your wealth can finally accumulate because you're no longer starting over in 6 months. All of these things work together. Everything I teach you goes together. They are not separate things that you're learning. Soul Wealth Blueprint is not separate from what you're learning in this challenge. This placement in your birth chart, that placement in your birth chart, if we're in a soul healing circle and we're talking about healing modalities and rituals, none of it is separate. It's not do a ritual or work with the moon or meditate or breath work or. It's and you create the system that creates the container to heal in, the foundation that holds, and the accumulation of wealth because of that. Okay, that's what happens when you work with Saturn. You build your soul queendom. Okay, remember, it is brick by brick, lesson by lesson, day by day, until your foundation is unshakable. If you are still able to be shaken, and like if I would have freaked out, went to Crystal, let's change this, let's do that. What do you think about it? That is not an unshakable foundation. Everything would have crumbled that I called forth for myself and for you in this challenge. I would have started doing a whole bunch of things that were not in alignment of myself. And then let's say life was happening like it has been this week. It would have been a fucking train wreck. But I have been solid every day in what I'm doing here, the work I'm doing here, protecting my energy, standing in my power, protecting my power. Sometimes a little spicy, but I've been here. I've been strong and I've been unshakable. And I can tell the difference because when I am shakable, when I leave a space where I was rocked, I feel it in every ounce of my being. My heart is racing, my stomach's in knots, I'm breathing fast, right? But when I am unshakable, like today, I shocked the fuck out of myself in holding that strength, that power, that energy. And when I was in my space for recharge, normally I would have been fucking spiraling and ruminating and all these things and thinking about it. Blah, 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 and I was so shocked because I felt a feeling that I hardly ever feel. And that was peace inside of me for choosing me. Up until most situations, I would say 8 times out of 10, if I have chosen myself in the last 9 months, in that quiet alone time after, it's been a fucking nightmare. Just running through journaling, thinking, AI. I have my AI has built out so many systems with NLP and CBT and special healing systems that I've created for myself. And I would have spent 5, 6, 7 hours in those systems. And I did a lot in 2025. But today I stood in my power and I was unshakable. Like I said things with spiciness, but I'm proud. I'm proud of standing in that power and not allowing it to collapse in bullshit and screaming or yelling or whatever, or condemnation or anything. It was the most powerful, right? So when I was by myself and I could breathe, the feeling of peace and proud and just like, see, you've got this. It's never happened. Like I said, 8 times out of 10. So 2 times out of 10 happens, maybe. But I think back and I think it was probably false because I was holding on to something here or holding on to something there that gave me that peace. Today, I just was that peace. That's the power of unshakable. Okay? Okay, so now that you understand what Saturn is, why it matters for your soul healing, and how it connects with your wealth that lasts, and we've gone through the different signs, right? And I've kind of pulled that together through your health, through your soul healing and through your wealth. Now, pay a fucking attention. What did I tell you yesterday? When you step forward into a container like this and you're learning these things and I'm bringing these things forth and you're open to it and you're welcome to it and you want that information and that growth and that transformation, the universe will always bring you an opportunity to quote unquote put your money where your mouth is, or to put your action where your words are, to put your action where your intention is, to put your action where you feel. So if there's an opportunity coming up, pay a fucking attention. Hear it. These are your lessons, right? This is Saturn coming in going, let's clean it up. First it's this, then it's this, then it's that. And when you get to that, like, ooh, I don't like that. Saturn goes, okay, we'll chill here until you fucking figure it out. Because we ain't going nowhere until you figure it out. You think a Taurus bull is stubborn. There's nothing more stubborn than the planet of Saturn, okay? And the whole fucking solar system, astronomy, astrology, it's Saturn. Well, that we know of, because there's like, what, billions of fucking planets and stars. And okay. I think I have everything. All right, let's do this. Thank you, Jessica. You're so sweet. I love how you're my cheerleader. Saturn equals a safe container, so work with it. Yes, Crystal, I got your back now. And when I've talked you out of the tree, I call it back off the ledge. You say out of the tree. I love it. It's cool though, right? I love that, right? Crystal's like, hey, I would have your back. I would help you regulate. I help you get on track. But the power is like, that really technically isn't Crystal's job, right? It's my job to recognize, where is my power? Where am I unshakable? Where do I stand? What did I say that I wanted? What did I intend? How did I say I would get here? What were the paths that I said that I would take? How did I say I would stay connected with myself? How did I say that I would show up for myself? How did I say I would respond if it didn't go the way that I thought that it would? And how did I say that I would have faith and trust in the journey where I'm being led and what I'm learning to grow through so that I can evolve and ascend into a better version of myself? If I'm going to be a prayer practitioner, being a judgmental asshole won't work. If I'm going to be a prayer practitioner and I'm going to be bringing that healing and that there, I've got to learn, or I get to learn how to clear and how to align, even let's say on the hardest days or in the hardest moments, and being connected to what it's all for. And that's the reason why I do the work that I do. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I offer a free 90-minute session that just fucking blows your mind and is so powerful, is because I know that the work that I've done for 20 years and that I continue to do is because of what I am teaching you and what I'm bringing and what I'm delivering today. It's the culmination of everything. Everything is here now. The soul healing, the wealth work, your blueprint for being here, building a better relationships, better financials, better connection and alignment with yourself, and all of the different things, right? Learning how to regulate your own emotions and your self-awareness and your emotional intelligence, and audit your energy and check in, like, what's my emotional temperature right now? And is this a recharge moment for me? How can I give to myself in this moment instead of looking for someone else to give me when my soul is saying, hey, this is for you to give to yourself. And that's the work that I do with myself and the work that I'm doing with you. And then that layers into why the podcast is so raw and so real, right? Real life, real shit, real raw. Because it's all the culmination of the reason why I'm here. And I want to give that to you. I want you to have the culmination of the reason why you're here, and that you're living that and you're standing in that unshakableness. It doesn't mean you won't be shaken at times. It just means you'll understand what that feels like. So it'll help you get there faster as you continue to evolve. So what was the one thing that was so resonant with you today that you absolutely loved about this entire session? I'd love for you to shout it out in the chat box. We're a little bit over time today, but that's okay. So Crystal, I would offer you one shift. Don't be the kind of friend that helps other people regulate their emotions. Be the kind of friend that holds the container and pours love, light, peace, strength, power, energy into that container for them to regulate their own emotions. Do not be the person that wants to be the regulator. That is unhealthy for everyone involved. And trust me, it will get you nowhere except for a heartache and abandoned and alone. Because when you're carrying someone else's emotional regulation, even for just a moment, that means they're not carrying it themselves. And emotional regulation is an inside job. 100%. I spent my whole life regulating people. I am fucking phenomenal at it. But every single time I step into regulating someone else, I dysregulate myself. And a lot of times in a way I don't recognize until lots of years later. Because that's how powerful the work is that I do, that I don't realize the dysregulation in myself, because I can see the healing and help of that person. And so that was superseding anything it was doing to me. But now that I've shifted, I can see immediately the millisecond that I am regulating for someone else, I feel it in my body. It's now an immediate feedback mechanism. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing it again. You know what? This is your shit. This is your thing. This is your choice. I've said what I needed to say. You do with it what you will. Whether you move with it or you don't move with it, that's your burden to bear, right? So be a beautiful friend who holds that space in that container, and that will never, ever, ever step forward to do the work that the person needs to do themselves. There is never a time where anybody should ever be working to regulate someone else's emotions, not even a little bit. And it's a lot of fucking work if that's already a habit. I still do it. And sometimes I don't feel it in some of the moments. And I'm like, God, why did I do that? Okay, listen, here's what I suggest. Do what you want. Here's what I see. Do what you want. You look like you're exhausted. If you want to clean the house, though, go for it. You know? Saturn tells us to grow up. Jessica says, learning how important working with Saturn is for me. Betty says, my Chiron is the key to knowing how I build my business with a strong foundation that feels like home and is safe. Beautiful. And Saturn is the lessons that you learn, or creates that container for that healing, right? All right, so we'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, back to our regular time as we wrap up this 5-day challenge. And we pull it all together, make it make a little bit more sense. For those of you guys that are in the Soul Wealth program, Soul Wealth Blueprint program currently, this is going to be so powerful for you as we continue moving throughout the rest of our sessions in January. We go into Soul Healing Circle on January 20th. What day are we at? Yeah, this coming up Tuesday, January 20th, and we go into our wealth workshop on the 27th. Watch how this explodes for you. Watch how everything takes hold. Watch how you start to show up for yourself even differently than you have to today, right? Just watch how this shifts how you think about other people, how you think about yourself, how you think about relationships, how you think about business. This is where the shift really starts to take hold as we move into the actions of pulling your business together as we get to the end of the month and we start pulling together your messaging, all those connections. You're going to keep hearing these things or feeling these things and coming back to these things, and it's going to make such a huge difference for you. So remember this, that if no one told you today, you are worth it. You are always worth it. I'm Power Coach Alicia, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.